we can say custom Java code that we can add into it. So that is a basic, so we can say advantage which we have with Talend. So that's why it's coming up more of
Okay.
it. Okay. So you can say the Talend moreover also helps you to provide both ETL and ELT requirements for business and system perspective. Anywhere aware
Okay.
of ELT and ETL? What is ETL and what is ELT? Okay, so I tell you. So actually, we have two types of load. One is ETL and second one is ELT. What ETL do is that if we see, I'll show you our Talend architecture which we have. Okay, so if you see this is, I'll share my screen. Okay, so is this visible?
Yeah, Rohit, just 1 second. Please record the session from your side also.
Okay, I
Okay?
think it's, I'm getting the messages, the session being recorded.
Oh, yeah. From our
So
side,
it's
it's
there.
being recorded, so you can also. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see this. So if you can see, this is the basic architecture of any ETL process wherein we have multiple or divided system. Source system wherein we get data from different. So it could be a cloud-based, it could be any ERP, it could be any accounting system, or it could be any flat file which it could be Excel, CSV, XML, JSON, whatever source you want to have, you can have. And in this Talend engine, wherein actually your Talend job gets fit in and starts the process, this comes up. And when this process is done, it loads as per your requirements into the target system. So Talend supports multiple target systems, whatever you want, and it has almost 800 plus connectors and components, which helps you to provide different feasibility and different requirement success. And second point, which other point apart from this, which we have with Talend is that it is having inclusive interface. Inclusive interface means it gives you a proper look and feel wherein you can see and feel, okay, this thing is this, and if you are dragging and dropping an icon, you will actually see, okay, I'm able to drag and drop this part. It helps you to allow the create jobs as well as use that job as a component. So that component comes as a joblets, means it's a sub job which is a part of a job. So as you were mentioning that you have a requirement where an output of one job goes into the another job. So there it comes as a parent relationship between two jobs, wherein one job is the parent job and second job is treated as child job, which helps to use the output of either child job into parent or parent job into child. Okay. Next, it allows you to provide a business model. So what is business model? So if you are having an interaction with the senior management, so in that case you will be seeing that you provide business models that how will your project be layout, means what would be the source, how is your data integration will happen, what types of interfaces which you'll be dealing, and then what task or what processing will you be including to get your resultant data. And the third benefit which it gives you, most important benefit which it gives you is that it gives you a reusability of your jobs. So reusability of the jobs or components means that it has a central repository wherein you can store all your reusable details. all your reusable jobs, all your reusable metadata, files, context variables, which can store and later it could be used as and when you require it. Now, the thing is that this is local to that particular project. So we will see once we move into that direction. So till now, any questions which you have?
Wait, are you sharing something on a screen? Hello?
Yeah, here.
No, I'm not able to see. Yeah, now it is coming. It's too late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So actually this was, so if you are not able to see, so this was the architecture which I was showing, wherein
Can you go ahead once more? Just in brief. What is this?
yeah. This is actually the basic architecture of the talent usage, wherein you have a source system, which could be any, it could be a cloud, any ERP system, any accounting, any flat file, or any Excel file you require. There sits your talent engine, which is not but all your talent jobs, which comes up while processing. And the next one is the data. There is also the target system. So target system is wherever you want to load the data and use it.
This is the typical ETL setup which we have.
Yeah, this is the typical. This is the typical wherein an ETL standard, and talent also follows the same ETL architecture. It does not have any separate thing that you require.
So you was talking about the ETL and ETP, something like that. So
yeah, ETL and ELT. So
ETL
is a process wherein we first extract the data. Means we extract the data from the source, transform it into our talent, and then load it. This is ETL. Okay. And next is ELT. So what ELT does is that it extracts the data wherein your talent is there. Talent is also helping you to extract the data, but in between it has a staging database where your extracted data gets stored, and then you process that data and load it directly to your target system, or you use the processed data. You don't load it anywhere. It could be anything. Okay, so first, right now we'll start with our module 1. We have divided this complete course into separate 11 to 12 modules, which will deal with all the aspects of the talent studio. And for this, what we can do is we'll be starting with this one, wherein you will have So in the first module, we will start with how to start a talent studio and then create our first project and try to create a job and then running a job. So how should we capture the talent studio? So for this, we have a talent website which you can go and download depending on your OS. So if you okay. So if you could, you click this and open the site. So here you can see multiple products which talent provides. So it has big data, data integration, data quality, and ESP and MDM. Okay. So depending upon your requirements, so right now like we are doing data integration, so you can go with data integration and download. So basically it gives you the things, components, and also it helps you to the requirements. If you know what is the basic requirement which is required to install our data. So once you install it, you download it, you will get a zip of that, and that zip will be in this format. Okay, so this zip you will get, and once you extract it, it will open in the fashion and you will be having that. So, so for this depending on your talent, system architecture we will be using, whether it is 32-bit or 64-bit. Okay. So as you can see, we have versus 32-bit and 64-bit DXE which we use, and right in my systems of 86, 32-bit, so I'll be using this. So once you open this Talent Studio, you will be having an agreement which you want to be accepting, and then it opens up. So then what we will be doing is that we will be trying to create a new project, and for this you have either this is the managed connections. Okay, you can add multiple connections if you want. Here we have only one, and if you are connected with the SCM, then you will be having one remote program here. Okay. Second one is this workspace. Now I'll show you how this workspace goes with. So see, these are the files while extracted. It came up, and these are here. So these are two EXEs which is required. So once we open the talent, so it gives us this list based on the project if you want. So if we want to create a new project, simply click on create new project. We give the name. Okay. I have multiple names, so once you click it, it creates us a new project. And we click on this one, it will open new project space where it will give us a UI. The most important thing which we, while using talent, we require or to take in consideration is that if we are using talent 6 onwards, then we have to have Java 1.8, and below that it supports Java 1.7. So that we need to know, otherwise we will be having a Java error wherein it doesn't execute your talent studio and you face issues. So meanwhile it starts anything which you want to ask. So this is my screen, this one. Yeah?
That's the visual.
Okay, fine. So here if you see, you see multiple things. First is menu bar. As usual, we have in all the UI level softwares, the segments which this workspace is divided is, this is the repository. Okay. A repository gives you the centralized location of all your jobs, context. Code is usually, if you want to write any custom Java code, then templates, if you are using, you can directly include any template which you want and use it. This is the metadata. Now metadata here provides you the information, shows you that whatever sort of files it supports. So you need, suppose if you have a customer data file, and the customer data file has 4 columns which is fixed, and you are creating jobs wherein every time you have to import it, that file, and then use it. So for that you can create metadata for that file. Once you drop it, it will show you all the metadata, means what is the column name, data type, length, it will be automatically ready to use. And it can be used in any job.
For custom transformation, we can only write in a Java. Can't we use an SQL query or not? Custom transformation is the stuff.
Custom?
The custom transformation you say now that you can use a Java, right?
Yeah, yes.
Can't we use a SQL? Yeah.
You can use it. You can use it. I'm coming to that part. Okay. So this is the outline section where you will see the list of all the components which are used in your active job. Means active job is that whatever your job is coming in this job designer window. So this is the job designer window. So I'll show you, I'll do one thing, I'll switch the project and return to our main one wherein we have the components and jobs. Okay. So see, this is our job, and this is the first job. I'll show first how it looks, and then we'll create a job. See, this is the outline, and here you are seeing two components. These components are the ones which are used here. Okay. So this is our job designer area, wherein we actually design the code. And here if you see, you have two tabs. One is designer section, one is code. So designer is the place wherein we actually drag and drop the components. Whereas if you click on code, you will see the actual Java code, which is created based on this component which you have placed. So if you see, this is the actual Java code which gets created when you drag and drop the component. Okay. Now coming to the palettes. Okay. So this is the palette wherein you have all the components which you require. Okay, it has ETL, ESP, file, internet, logs, miscellaneous, system, processing. All the things are divided, and you can use any one which you want. So suppose if you want to use any component which requires some MySQL. Okay, if you want to search components which are for MySQL, so if you see, you have these components, MySQL. Okay, every has separate sections, and every component would be defined here, and you can use whatever components which you want to use. Suppose this is MySQL and you want to have a database connection. Okay, for this MySQL connection will be used, and where you can just click and drop it here. So this will be used to create MySQL connection. One another more way wherein you can drop the components at this place is you can directly write the component name. Java, whatever you want, Java plus Java, Java, and this. Okay, so coming to your question, that you were saying that you want to write a custom SQL connection. So for this, you can simply use the MySQL row. So if you see, you have multiple connections, and this is the MySQL row, wherein you can write your custom SQL code, which will execute at your target or source location. So depending on the database which you are using, you have to use that component. For each component, you have a separate job. And the below area which you are seeing, this is the place where you get the actual information of the jobs. This is the name who created it, what's the purpose, whatever these things which you will be defining while creating the job. If you create a new job, next is the context variables, we will touch this later, and there is a component wherein you get actual information which you have to define during the usage that whatever you, what's the property, like for instance this is our SQL connection, so what will be the database, then host name, then the username, any relational parameters, everything which you use us to define and using as any database connection parameter at the client, database client, the same thing which you have to use it here. Next comes, if you see, is run. This tab is used to run the jobs, and you have two modes. One is basic and second one is debug. So basic is if you run the job, you simply run the job without any, you will get the messages in the console and you will see whatever output you want. If you are facing an issue, then in that case you can use debugger, wherein you will be seeing row by row values, and that value will be coming for each component for the row. Suppose if the run row generator is run and you are using a debug mode, then in the first row you will see which column is having what value. Then comes the advanced setting, which if you want to use, you can, but usually it's not used, and it is used as default. Next one is target. So if you have a job server, then it runs, otherwise it does not. Okay. So this is for the ID, and the interface or perspective which we use for this is that you can see, if you click on this small icon with the checkbox as plus, so you see these interfaces. Most for our development we use integration interface, where we now we create the jobs and this. Otherwise, if in later stages you want to create your custom component, then you can use component designer. Rest is as and when you require, you can use the interface, but for our development purpose we usually use integration. Any questions till now?
If you can explain last one again, the open perspective that you opened.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so perspective is actually the look and feel in which you want to create. Okay. So Talent provides you multiple perspectives wherein you can create the jobs. But as a developer for Talent, when we are using integration services, we use the default one, which is integration. Suppose if you want to use a component designer, you want to create a component, then you will get this interface where you just don't have anything. It is simple. There's a link and you have to do the jobs. So these are the things. And if you want to use any other mode, you just change it. It will be in the debug mode, you run the job and you will be seeing what values are having. So here, you will all to create job, you will always use integration perspective, nothing else. And these are the toolbars which is provided, wherein if suppose you need not to, you are running in, you created a job in a Maximus, so you can directly run the job from this place. You can create a job here, and next you can either no modification, it checks any modification was there or not. Next is import, this is export and import. Then if you want your export item or import. Okay. The main part of this is the preference, wherein you actually can define whatever things you want to customize for your job or your Talent Studio. Here you can define, like This is the journal, and you can change the appearance whatever you want. Okay, so this is the default. Suppose if I change to 7 reduced and then it will change. Then compare if you have multiple, you can just compare. These are the things which you will be using, which you usually don't use. Other thing which we primarily look into usage is the components. Suppose if you have any third-party component which you want to use, but it is not loaded into the palette. So from here, if you go to Preference, Talent, Components, and click on Browse. So Browse will, from here you can go your target location where the component is placed. You can include that component and it will be automatically loaded into the palette. Next one is the Java. So sometimes you get if you are using two different JREs and you want to change switch between the JRE, like here it is using JDK and you want to use JDK7, okay. So you can add your Java here and then you execute. This was the main thing which usually we face issues when Java is not compatible and you are not able to load. That is, you have multiple JDK installed on your system. So in this case, if you are using multiple JDK, you can do one thing, is that you can have one JRE and multiple JDKs. So in that case, you can switch between JDK and your Talent will run. But if you have multiple JREs, then you will get issue. Okay, this was in the terms of environment which Talent requires to be stable, otherwise it gives the issue. Okay, so till now we have covered our create projects. So here you can see this way we created a new project. Below it has demo and you can import any existing project which is there. For import, you will select import option and then select whatever project you want. Shall we move on to creating a job or any questions? So this is the job and this is job design. So if we always create the jobs into the repository, and you can see here these are divided into multiple categories. This is the business model. Now business model is usually create your business models wherein you define this. Suppose this is the sample one I'll show you, which is there wherein we have defined our business, that how our in what way the business is run, the user is there and we have a master sales software which interacts with the SQL database, then it extracts the data, then it again goes back into the target. Yeah. So in this way you can define anything. This was based on for this project wherein we have a scenario, we have the sales data which is used to replicate our process flow. All the jobs which we create comes under job design, and in job design, if you see you right, you have multiple options. One is create job, create folder, expand or collapse, build job, import and export. Okay. Import and create job is to create a new job folder as simple, which always creates a new folder. Then it expands and collapses. Either you can do it from here or here. And next is build job. Build job is actually when you will be running the job as a standalone. Means you have to take this job created into the studio and then run into your target system. So then you will build the job and place it there. Import and export items are used to if you want to this as a project or this job as a job inside. So it will be exported as only codes and charts. It will not be any executable file. Whereas if you create a build job, then it creates you an executable file which runs. Okay, so here we have our module, and then this is our first job. So I'll show you how to create a job. So we call create. So if you see, it has multiple things. One is the name. What name you want?
Ramakant here.
Yeah.
Rohit, I have a query regarding the job export. So, at the time of job export, so what actually it is a Java code or like some kind of like, so what I'm questioning is the talent job is only run through the talent, or I can also run through the Java command line or kind of.
Yeah, you can run it from any. You can run from your Java command line. You can run from the task studio. You can run from TAC. TAC is basically a talent administration center, which provides you an environment where you can run the job.
So basically, when we are exporting a job,
it extracts with the Java classes that we use. So if you open this code, you will see the exact Java code with classes, everything.
okay. So basically, it's a, when we are exporting a job, it's a Java code actually, right?
Yes, it is a Java code.
Fine.
Okay. So here you can see multiple things are there. Wherein first is name, purpose, description, author. The author is the user ID with which you created your connection. And locker, suppose if your job is in SVM or Git, multiple users are using the same project. In that case, if user one is using on a new job, then it will be locked by and his name will come here as a locker. Next is the version. What version of the job you are creating? It's capital M and small. The capital M is the initial version, whereas the small m is the minor version. So it extends up to which you want. This is the status that in which phase is your job. As it is in development, testing, on production. Based on your development range, you can set it if you want, and this is the path. So path is nothing but the place where actually your job is. So here if you see, it is showing this module 1. So module 1 this is means is that is a module 1 folder where we have our job. So we create first job. So name. Purpose you can create and description whatever you want to what your job will be doing. Okay. So if you see it is giving me an error, name contains incorrect characters. Any guesses why it is giving? Hello. Okay. So it is giving because I have included a space in this. So that means it will not take any spaces right between. So either you should not give a space or underscore. It's the same naming convention or the class name conventions it follows with it has with Java follows. So you have to give like here it can't start with the first one. So job name should, first character should always be a character as alphabet, and then you can write anything you want, but it should not have any spaces.
Rahul, here if we will change the status, will it automatically use the updated context file? That all the test, development,
No,
production,
no.
and all those.
No, then it is only the job status where it is. It is not using the context file. For context, you have to change the context location. Okay. So for context, like here you can see, this is the context and we will test the context. You can create any context depending on your requirement. So whatever phase you have, like usually we have development, testing and production. But in some scenarios you can have a pre-production and post-production. Okay, then UAT. So there are multiple context and
Okay, Rohit, got it.
yeah.
Rohit, here like whatever the Ramakant here again.
Yeah.
So the context variable here, if we are creating here, it means we are creating in a job, right?
Yes.
So the scope for that context variable is global or for a particular job?
You have already answered your question. Okay. So see, you are saying this will be local to the job, so that means it will only for a job, not for a group.
Okay, so why I am saying, because generally we are retrieving the variables with the context dot A and context dot B.
Yes.
So
Yes, yes.
I thought might be when we are applying context, so it's a global. That's the
No. We'll touch the context part and it's a tricky one
okay,
because
fine.
yeah. Okay, so this is the first and you can have your questions, so we'll answer those. Okay. So this is like in this way we have created the job. So see in my job, if you see this is 7 and this is 0. Okay, so this is showing me the version which it is. 7 is my minor version of the job, major version of the job, sorry, and this is the minor version. So I will use my existing job which I have created. So here we have, you see, I have used two components. One is T row generator and the second one is T log row. Okay. So T row generator and T log row. So if you see T row generator in our palette. So this is, you can see the description here. What it says, generates as many rows and fields as needed and feeds each value with a dummy data provided randomly. Okay. So that means you can, it is basically only a test component which provides you the sample data which Java automatically creates for you. So if you click this one, okay, I'll show you. There are two ways of setting values for a component. First, either you can double click it, then also it will open in the settings. Otherwise, you can select and go to the components tab. So here you can see these things. One is schema. Schema is nothing but metadata. What rows, columns, data types, and length it will store. Nullable and not nullable. If you require any column to be not nullable, means you have to have any value into that column, then you should uncheck it. If you are checking it, that means you are allowing that column to have no value, means as a null. Okay. The next is settings, wherein if you see, this is the column which we have defined, and there are multiple functions which is there. Suppose if I want to add any new column, and I gave this column name as serial number. So see, it has multiple functions which are predefined, and it gives you anything you want. So here this is random string as it is creating the string. So we can use this environment variable. You want the length should be greater than or equal to 6. Means it will start from 0, 1 is length 1 and go up to 6 digits, not more than that. If I click it, so see it is giving you, would you like to propagate the changes? So text is, here it is asking that I want to have same schema as my source component to the target component. So target component is our tlog row. Tlog row basically is used to print our data or any value into the console. It is basically an error logging method, wherein you just log the values into the console or your output place and see whatever you. Once we have done the development, then only at particular phases we keep it active. At rest, deactivate or remove it from the job. Okay. So this is tlog row, and in tlog row we are seeing it has a schema same as our target source. So source is trow generator. It is having the same schema. I can either remove it or can keep it based on our requirements. So I am keeping all the values here so that you can see what is coming. So if you go and see the printing, see this is more what it shows is that it will print the value, your output data in the basic, means it will a simple row without any header, only just a separation which will be a pipe symbol. Okay. So here you can give, if you want to print header, that which column is holding which value. Okay. If you want to print the component name also, you can also print. If you want to print a schema name for each value, then also it will be. Okay. Or print content with log4j. So log4j is a different component for the logging, and once if you have included it into the job, then it will print. Otherwise, it will give you error. Okay, next we go to advanced settings.
Rohit, log4j is used for debugging mainly.
Log4j.
Print content with log4j. So is it used for debugging only?
It is used for logging only.
Okay, can you show with an example this in trow generator? If you can put it after trow generator, and we can see how it works. Or if you want, you can show it later as well. It's up to you.
Yeah, we will touch this later. First we will see this one. Okay. These are the dynamic settings. Okay. Now, if you see, we have a view. So view is suppose you have a component, you have a job which is having multi components. Same component is tlog row is used multiple times, and if you want to differentiate which is tlog is printing what, so you can give name here. Okay, so it will, if you run this job, you will be having the header value as test, and it will show that you are getting the value from this test component. So right now we will try to run this job and see what output we are getting. So see this, in this here we have used the basic. So basic is here, it is not giving any reference value, means which column does it belong, which is header. Okay, so it is coming here, but it's printing blank, only the raw data which is there, but we are not sure which column is holding which value, which represents it. So we can give it as table, and it will print the output as in the tabular format. So now we have a clean structured table which is having the component name which we gave and the column heading, that which column is storing which value. Same way if you want vertical, so it will print every column value in a vertical format. Usually it's if you are using only single one or two data, then it is fine, but not for because it will be not easy to read vertical scheme. Like here you can see it's giving you every sets and keep their value, and for each SI it is printing separate value and creating a separate columns. That's why it's not used usually. They use only as a basic if you want only the reference of the samples, or you use table. Okay. So we have touched running job. Till now, any questions? Because in this way we have completed the first module, and you see the areas which we have touched is that now we are able to run the studio, create a project, create a job, and run new job. So what I will show you one more thing is that when running the job, here we have run it through this tab. We can run our job from here also. So you see it is showing me multiple jobs. Whatever job I want to run, I can run, but we'll be using the first job which we have created. So I can simply click it and it runs and gives it the output. Okay.
Rohit,
Where
Makant
it
here.
is getting this value first name, last name, and all.
Your voice is too low. Can you be a bit louder?
Yeah, I mean, T-row generator, from where it is getting this first name, last name, and all. It was not defined anything.
Yes, it is getting from this zero generator. See, this zero generator helps you to create the sample data, which you have defined the column, which column will hold which value. And this is functions which Talend has inbuilt, and it is automatically generating the data based on some internal files which is there.
Okay, okay.
Rohit, Ramakant here.
Yeah.
So when we are running our job, right? So suppose in some time in our job we have lots of components, right? The combination. And if you want to run particular component, so can we run it, or like we need to run the whole job?
No, you can run it. You can run it, but
From where?
you have to keep in mind that what is the flow you want to run. I'll show you this thing once. I'll show you it. It's not that. Okay. Basically, this was coming. It does it. Okay. Now, what I will do, if I want to run only second flow, I don't want to run this one. So I will click deactivate current. So what it does is that it has deactivated this part. Now it will run only the second flow.
Okay. Okay.
If you don't want the output also, you can just deactivate a particular component which you want, and simply run only this component will run.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So next we'll try to touch is so here what we'll be using is try to use a source file which will be try to read it and then do some transformation on that. Again, but combine the columns and then duplicate the jobs. So, have you ever got a scenario wherein you are using? I think you must be using any of the source target schema. So most of which source you use? Hello. Sorry, it was calling. So see, this is our source customer file which we'll be using, and so if you see, this is our source file, which is nothing but a CSV file, and it has some details. I have not included any header, which I'll be creating into our talent component directly and use it. So if you want, you can use, otherwise you can use this. So this is the file input. For using a flat file or CSV file or text file, we usually use the file input delimited. So delimited means it is separated by any of the values. It could be a column, semicolon, comma, file, or any other non-readable characters. You have to define into the field separated part. So if you see, we have multiple values here, and we want to drop it, just have to write the file. You see, it has multiple, and we'll be using this delimited. So here you can see you have a JSON file to include JSON or input, Excel file to include Excel input. File input full row is used to includes complete set of row without any definition defined. Usually it is used for bulk inserts, and then XML, Excel. If you want to read any properties file, then the file input properties is used. So here you can see we will be using this file input delimited. And you have multiple values here. First is in basic tab, you will see the properties. So properties is basically, suppose if you have defined any metadata into the repository, then you will go and select the repository and define any metadata you have. Here we don't. So we will be using built-in means locally to this job. We have the file, which file we want to use, the row separator. Here we have our usual /n, and then the field separator. Field separator is nothing but it defines and what way the column is divided. So here, like you can see, I have used semicolon. The same thing we will be defining. Suppose if I give comma, so it won't separate the rows into the columns, and it will give all the values to one. Or else if it finds here, so here so it will what it will do, it will place this value in one column and this value in second. To get this, that's why we have defined it as semicolon. And next is CSV options. So if you have values in double quotes, then you give it as double quotes. It's escape characters. It will comment all the double quotes which are covering a particular text, and this text enclosure defines that all values are defined. Header and footer and limit. This defines what values, how you are including your values. So here if I have header 1. Okay. So header 1 means my first row is header. Footer means the last row, so I have given 0 footers, means it will not omit any file. If I suppose if I give any value, this is test and save, then I will give footer 1. Means first row as header and last row as footer. So it will omit these two and get the values between these columns. Okay. Now limit is the number of columns if you want to extract from your flat file or source file.
Rohit, can we read from third row? Is it possible omitting first zeros?
Yeah.
Here?
Yes. You can give if you want to read from third, you can give a header to read from
Okay,
third.
so this will
It will
start
first
from
two
that.
rows at a time.
that row.
Okay.
Okay.
Now if you see, you find these 3 checkboxes below. Okay. First we'll tell you this is schema part. So schema part is nothing but the same which we have touched, the column name, what's the data type, what's the length of this. So it's same, and same way the schema also comes, you have 2 types, one is built-in and repository. Built-in is equal to the job, and repository is when you have the schema in the metadata that you use. Here you see 3 checkboxes. First is the skip empty row, then uncompress as zip, and then die on error. Skip empty row is usually used if suppose you have tens and thousands of records and you are not sure whether you have continuous flow of data or you have any black lines, like in my case where we have this black line at row 30. So if I have not checked it as a skip empty row, in that case it will do only row till 12, but it will skip this 14. To avoid that situation, and we usually check is skip empty rows. So in this way, what it will do is that it will skip this row and it will go till 14. Okay. Next is uncompressed asset file. Means you have a compressed, you have your source files as zip. So you need not to add any uncompressed component and then compress it and then store it in another location and then use that an archive file into this. So you can directly give the location of the zip file and tell it that it should be uncompressed, so it will uncompress it for you and use that file. Next is die on error. So die on error is basically used for any error logging, or suppose if this component is giving any issue, your data is having any issue, or is not able to read the file properly and you have not checked on this die on error. So though it will be having issue, but it will run and it won't show you any error. So in that case, it will just stop. Okay, this component is giving me an issue. I should stop it because we have a die on error. It will stop the processing on this point and show you the error, whatever it faces. That's why you use die on error. Then we have advanced settings. So what nowadays we usually go for the separators or this encoding. In encoding, usually we are supporting the UTF-856 universal. So that's why this should be usually considered while using a flat file. Because if you don't take this into consideration, sometimes the data mapping or extraction of the data gives you issue and we are not sure because the encoding is not proper. We don't have any way that we can figure it out that encoding is mismatch and it is giving the same issue. Next you have C, this one, trim all columns. It's nothing. You can either trim any column, or if you check this trim all column, what it will do is that it will check for blank spaces, white spaces, which we say in the data. Suppose this one 03 has a blank white space. So what? And I have checked this trim all columns. So it will trim all the columns, whether it has any blank space or not. And if you have any schema, then you usually use it, but this is not for that. We have a schema validation component which is generally used. If your data is having any hexadecimal value, then you use it. Otherwise, you don't. Dynamic settings is during the runtime if you want to provide any value. But here we don't have, during these components, we don't provide the dynamic settings. The view is same, the component name which comes up, and you see. So this is for the view, and suppose here footer as one. We'll turn it up and see what output we are getting.
Read the header into data names, column names, like automatically, or somehow we can do it in one go rather than putting column name one by one. Length also.
Which one? Here. This
Yeah.
column.
So if we are reading the customer file and we have header, so we should have in header we will have column name. So is it possible to read those column names automatically rather than defining it in the schema and then reading?
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. Without that, it will be.
You will take it
just,
right now, or you want to do it later?
No, I can. It's not that. See, I will show it is there, but how does it that I will show it, because you can't cover everything in one go. Okay?
Right.
So see, this is the metadata location when you have included the customer data and see metadata. Okay? It has all the columns.
Okay.
Okay.
So this
so
we
suppose I
extracted
want
from
to
the
use
file.
this file. So I just drag and drop, and it will ask for which component we want to use. So simply you will see. Okay. So basically that's what I said. If you we are using reusable components or reusable values, so that will be defining in the repository, the strategy which I showed. We have two modes. One is built-in and second is repository. Okay. So if we see our output, let's see what it is. Okay. So it is showing us 146 first row and the last row is 4067. So see 406897. This was our last and first is 146. So based on our values, where we have given header as 2 means it has skipped 2 rows from the top and 1 row from the bottom. Right? Now if I want to get only 3 rows, so we just have provided the limit, and when we run, we will be having only 3 of them. See, 146, 171, 172, only 3 rows. Okay. Any questions till now? So we will be moving on to the next point wherein we have a transformation and we want to do any transformation of this job. So one of the most widely transformation component which is used in Talend is TMAP. What this does is that it provides you the flexibility of defining any of your logics into this TMAP, and you can include it accordingly. So what it gives you is that it gives you feasibility wherein it takes the input from one or multiple source and then provides you the output in one or multiple flow. So here you can have multiple inputs at the start, and at the end you can have multiple outputs. This is the basic picture we will have. So here, like you see, we have main connection. One thing I think I have skipped is that I'll show you. So this is our usual customer file which we'll be using. This is the TMAP. And in TMAP you can see we don't have any source, but we have one target. Okay. Here if you see we have two. One is the schema editor, the second one is the expression editor. The schema editor, nothing but it shows you the source column which is coming, whereas expression editor shows whatever expression we want to do. So here if you click on this column, you see in the target side it is showing that I want to concatenate first row and last row. So you have two ways for doing this. One is either you can directly write it here, or if you click on these three dots, it will open you an expression builder window. And in expression builder window, you will be able to write your code, or you can use the existing. So like here we have multiple words. This is for data operations. And second one is we have mathematical. Whatever mathematical is required, you can use it here. Then comes the numeric. If you want to create a sequence, you can just add a sequence. Then the relational, wherein we are checking the values based on its requirement. And then the string handling, alpha, preprint, G4, replace, all the string related functions are provided here. Then the data generator, this is the same which we saw in T-row generator, wherein it provided us the first name, last name. And then the talent date, so dates as multiple functions, and this is the most tricky part in the talent and Java to handle, because you normally people stuck in this place, so this will be taken. If you have any questions on this, we'll take it up. And next is the talent history, which is okay. So here if you see in expression builder, I have provided this. First we will try to create the connection. So to create the connection, we have, once we right click on our component or source component, see this small menu opens up, just row, trigger, undo, copy, paste, and this option. So row is basically used to create connections. So what type of connection we want to have? Main, reject, iterate. So main is a single row wherein we have data one by one and it goes into the target component. Reject is, suppose you have some reject and based on some functions you have a reject flow and you want that flow to go in separate rows. Then you can give it. And the next is iterate. So iterate is, it will, we have one, you add one loop and it will automatically do an iteration for that component. So it will read the data from your source component one by one, and for that we have one component. Suppose for this we have multiple output for one component, can use that. We'll see this iterate one different way, another way, usually it is not used in these components. Then this is triggers. So what trigger is that it provides you a way in which you can operate two different sets of flow, which could be either dependent or independent. So suppose you have a flow of extraction from one file and then flow of extraction from another file. So in that case you can do on based of some job OK for first flow and then add that to the second flow. So, or else if you want to throw any error or something, then in that case on error you can do an execution. Run is basically when we have any let's say logic based, means suppose you are checking the count of customers. If it is greater than 10, then only it should go to the second component. So you will write add the connections for running, and in that running you give the value as count of customers greater than 10. Once that condition is successful, then only it will process the flow, otherwise it won't. The on component and on component OK and error. OK is basically if the component performs without any issues, then you can do whatever operations you want, and on error if you want to show many error messages. So we use the T-row main and then connect it to T-map. So if you see we have connected it to T-map, then automatically schema gets transferred to the target room. You see, if you click on Go, you will be having all the schema values from the source. Okay, so see, it is showing you a schema for customer. This customer is having these columns, and once you click on T-map, you have the value.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Hello, can you hear me? Audible? Am I audible?
Yeah. Now it's clear.
Yeah, about the row main versus the iterate, can you repeat the difference? What was the difference?
Yes, in a row main we have a single flow, means it will execute one time. It will extract the data and it will get the data from your source component and move it to second
All at
component.
once.
Yeah, all at once. Whereas in iterate, if you have multiple sets of data, basically it is not used in this one where iteration is just like doing a loop. Okay. So either you define a loop for that component or you create an iterate connection and then do to the target one. So it will automatically do a loop on your source component and go it out.
And what was the other option there? Apart from the reject, yeah. What was that?
Reject is don't want to have any. So here is if this doesn't comes up, it is having, but usually we use reject. Suppose we have one and matching conditions. Okay. Suppose you have a component called T-filter component. Okay. T-filter component, what it does is that it filters the data based on your conditions which you provide. So there we have main or reject. So main, what it is that wherever all the data is, it is fulfilling your filter condition. Whereas reject comes into picture wherein your data is not fulfilling the condition which you have defined.
Got it.
Okay. So in T-map, what we are touching is that here you see we have connection between source and target. This is our source and this is our target. We can have a connection out. So we can either, if you want, you can write one by one, or you directly select the values here and drag and drop. So see, it has automatically created a schema for you for all. Okay. This is the one way in which you can have the connection, and the second way is that suppose you have a out and you already have the schema. So either you can simply drag and drop into the respective column which you want, or else you can click automap. Automap is successful only in the scenario where you have same column name. See, we have column customer name in row 1 and customer name in output 1 also. So then automatically that if it had it been different, then you would not have attached. So if I gave it this as city. Now if I try to map, it doesn't match because we have two different column names. This does not map and it fills the area of photo. So for doing automap, we have to have the same column.
This is case independent, right?
Yes, sir.
Case independent, this mapping, auto mapping.
Not case dependent.
Yeah.
It's case dependent. It's not case independent. It's case dependent because we have the same column. It's Java. It takes customer name as caps in different and customer name as small in different. So for this, it has two different entities. Okay, so if you see, we have two more icons here for out, and one is the expression builder. So expression builder is I'll show both the way which we have given the expression here. So this expression builder and this expression builder is same. It is the difference only in the usage. Here we are giving our expression based on a particular column. Means if you want to do any perform any operations for this column, like in the case of name, I have performed an operation wherein I want to add the name as first name and last name and provide it. Otherwise, like this, we have a credit limit and I'm checking. The credit limit is less than this, then I'm adding some value to it. Okay. So this, whereas if I want to have my output fulfilled on a particular condition, then only it should go to my out connection. So we provide the expression here. So for this, I should suppose I have.
What if I want to make the target column name different?
Your wish, you can give whatever you want, but you have to do. In that scenario, you have to manually drag and drop the column, or else you can do one more thing, is that you give the column and you are aware which column you want, then you just write the connection here in case is row 1, then press dot. Okay. Once you press dot, you will see you have to type it, or you can do one thing is control plus space bar. Okay. If you press control plus space bar, it will automatically show you all the columns which are there. Okay, just
okay. I'm just want to mention here one typical use case that we often face during our transformation is that need to generate the output from the multiple sources. Like you have got one source row or a set of source columns which you need to map to the target column, but during that confirmation you need to look up from another set of rows.
Yeah. So for that we do a lookup connection, and then comes wherein we match a particular column based on that mapping. When it gets successful, we process the data to the output column.
So I mean, can you please show us just one sample example, like how that can be performed?
Okay, we will touch this topic. We have this in our list.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay, we have this in our list. First, this is the basic thing. We just
Rahul, hello.
Yes.
Rahul, can you hear me? Yeah. So
Yeah,
Rahul, I have a question here. So since we are reading from the data, like one of the files, so and we are putting it in out, like so. If we put expression in out, it will filter after reading everything. But if we put an expression in row, it will filter before in reading step only. So is it possible to put filters in row?
You can't put the filters like you just provide a condition. Yeah.
Right.
Here
That
can
is.
but the same thing is that you
Same
can
thing.
give it here. Yeah, you can give it here. There's not
Okay, so
just that self-processing might sometimes takes a longer time.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So this is the settings, schema settings, wherein you are nothing is defining what type of rejects, what type of values which will be passing. So here we have singleton, so we are not using. But once we have a multiple source, then we can check what values we are. This is output reject, so it will check all the values. If whatever it fails, then it will give you. If it is output, we have provided an inner loop join, and we want to capture only the rejects. So instead of giving a separate flow and providing the condition in the expression filter, we can directly set this as true and it will automatically take this up. Schema type filter, we already have the same schema which is in our target, otherwise if it has been repository, it will show you that repository. So now see we have two outputs. Okay. So in the same way, if you want, I want to create a new output, you can simply click on new output. Otherwise, you can use any of the existing. So we'll use the output. Can run. It has been null pointer by exception. Now for where it is given, that we will see it.
Rohit,
Yet,
have executed the job, so I want to like ask the question here, and you have also got an error. So while I was executing the job, I saw that in the code, if you go to the code part, then you will.
yeah, you will see
Is
the
it
red
possible to
question
open
marks.
the code? Yeah, you click on the red part, you will see what is the error.
Yes. It is only in case of compilation error. This is runtime error. So in runtime error, you won't see anything.
Okay. But is it possible to change the code? Because I was
No,
trying to change it, it was not
no, it
happening.
won't. It is not. You can't change the code. Code is generated based on your job design.
Okay.
Then on it is in or integer. Okay, so it is giving for some code. Not sure.
Rohit, while
Yeah.
while you fix that, I would like to reconfirm this question. Can I read the column name from the header row itself? I mean, instead of providing them manually, can we read them from the file or header?
Column name from the header. Yes, you have to define it into the metadata.
No, no, defining. That's what I'm asking. I mean, instead of defining them, can I just read them from the file?
Yes, you can. In the metadata, when you create a
Okay, okay,
new
okay.
file,
Okay, okay. You want to, you can show it later.
for which it is
Rahul, can you click on that row sales rep employee, expand it and see what is in the formula?
Which one? Row sales and
the formula, yeah. So one thing also I noticed while creating the jobs, if I click two transformations, they don't get replaced, but they are getting
sorry. You are breaking up.
okay. Can you click on the property window for this? That not this, yes, this one. Yeah. So if we select more than one functions, then what happens is that function goes just right to this function. So it does not change.
No, for this we have to remove it. Okay, got it. You have to remove that, then only it will come. Otherwise, because what it is doing is that you are just placing a new function alongside of an existing. Okay, so just remove it and it will take turn.
Also, if we leave spaces after the functions, will it create an issue before or after?
No.
No. Okay.
Okay, it is giving some issue for, I think you wasn't.
One of the columns is not mapped, I think, credit.
Yeah. Some of the columns. Okay, we'll see. We have different jobs for this one. Because we have done some changes in the job, that could be an issue, but it is really. Okay. This one. Which column is the issue? Okay, some column is giving issue. We'll give this output.
Why can't we just remove this mapping and we'll try it?
Yeah, I'll try it.
Problem with this column or something?
Sorry?
Just remove this mapping for a particular column and then it is not a problem with this, then we can understand.
No, it is giving different columns.
Is it pointing to this only?
Also, can you save the job before running if that
No, in column is having null value which is giving issue. Take this one, 440.
why should a null value give a error?
It is expecting a value in some column and there it is giving some issue.
So there is a two consecutive delimiter there. It should take, right? And
Null value, right?
Okay. First column.
What was the problem?
First column was having not proper value, so that's why it was giving error. So what
Which one?
we do
Customer
is
number?
try to So here we are trying to do only simple operation wherein we just converting the value to uppercase. This is the simplest thing. And we see that we have all of the strings uppercase. So in this way we cover. Sorry?
Can
So
you
your
create
voice is
the
cutting,
previous
I'm not
scenario
able
and
to
show us the? Can you create the previous scenario where we no, what I am asking, can you create the previous scenario where we are getting the error and what was the error and how you understand that it's particularly pointing to that column and there is an issue with the function. So that's why
Okay.
because debugging is a
See,
crucial part, right?
So right now, this will give me an error which is null pointer exception. Now null pointer exception basically comes.
Can you walk through the error?
No, sorry?
Walk through the error so we can understand that.
Yeah, one. That's what I'm saying. Okay. See, this is the error. For tmap, I am
Can you
getting null
walk through
pointer.
the error? The red later which comes here.
This is the error which is coming, and in error you won't see anything. It is only showing that this component is having error.
Right. So, Rohit, what I
To any
think
column, right?
Lal is asking how to identify which column has error.
Is that you have to do a trial and error.
Yeah. It is having a problem.
Lal, your voice is cracking up. I'm not able to get you. Okay, like here in this case, we know that whenever this column is giving error.
No,
So,
what I'm asking, how I come to know that which column having an issue because it's not particularly.
here,
In developing a job, you don't know means where it is the problem, which column. So, because this is giving a very generic message, error message, how we will come to know that which column having a problem?
this you have to see manually because Talent does not gives you runtime. If it is a compilation error, then it goes to the row level or the variable level. But if it is a runtime
No,
exception,
means if it is 100 of column, if it is 100 of column, do you means expect us to means go 100 of columns and check hit and trial error? I mean, is it possible? Means in the real scenario, do you guys do
Yes,
like
so
this?
so for to nullify that, we implement error handling techniques.
Okay, so that will cover later.
Yes, that will cover. So in this case scenario, wherein it is giving null pointer exception and we are not sure that we can get. Okay, so what I am telling my talent is that no relational is null. Okay. This column, if this is not null, then you should pass value, else it should get blank. Okay. So in this way, I have tried to nullify the error, and this only providing this value should not.
So this is not the standard practice, right? This is not the standard practice.
No, this is the standard practice. You have to provide a null pointer exception handling. I should be
What I'm asking is to say that error handling procedure, right? So here what you're trying to do, you particularly pick a column which we know that there is an error, and you apply this null things there, right?
I'm sorry to say, but I'm having a real hard time.
200 of column, how will you decide?
Yes. So see, this is a error handling technique that we will be dealing during our error handling part. First session can have all your questions.
Right?
Okay, we'll go one by one.
We have a session and getting close to the column or something like that. The generic message will not help you in debugging the loss of scenario. Okay, then.
I will get back to you on this because I have understood your question, but your exact the gist of the question I am getting. But what your exact question is there, I was not able to get because your voice was too low, was cracking up too much.
Okay, can you listen me now?
Yes, now I can listen.
So I was telling that the message, the error message which we got in the window, it was a very generic. So we don't know which column having a problem. So now we have hit 2, 3 column and we find that there is a column problem with the customer number, right? So we try something applying is null. But in case if we have 100 and 200 of columns, how will come to know which column having an issue, because it's not pointing to any particular column, it's giving very generic message. So this type of error handling, do we have a specific method to handle this error?
Yes, in that case, what you will do is that you will try to validate the schema, and in the schema validation, you will allow which column should have null and if it is, and it should not. And if that column is having null value, it will automatically reject that column and give you the failed row. Otherwise, all the columns which passes that specific schema test, that will come up. So in that you will negate that this null pointer exception or any exception which is based on the data level. Because see, this is the data level. It is not your code level wherein your code is giving the issue. So for data level, and also you can give any custom messages, so that there are many ways you can write your custom codes or messages based on separate exceptions, like in Java.
I understand what you're saying. It's a data level.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to get your voice is
And they have
very very.
Means what can I do? Means this internet connection. Okay.
Yeah, I understand you have a question, but the thing is that I'm not able to get you. In fact, so either you can write me your question, or else in the next
Okay, just carry on. Just carry on. We will ask.
Yeah, sure. No issues.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Okay.
So in this way, if we do, it will resolve your issue. And next, what we have is just our creating a duplicate job. So transformation we have just to create a duplicate job. It is the easiest part, wherein you just have to right click on the job which you want to duplicate, and you see this giving you a duplicate option. Just give it whatever name you want. Give text. Give text. Okay. This way we have covered today's module, wherein we have gone through the Talent Studio, the jobs creation, project creation, and how is the field, and getting data from source, doing a simple transformation, and putting it onto the console using elog. So till now, any questions apart from that Java exception? Because that is error handling, and we will take it up as the moment comes up.
Hello?
Hello?
Rohit?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Rohit?
Yes.
As you said in beginning, while starting this transformation team map, it is a very versatile and highly talent, right? So means can you go run through some of the usage, means at least you can touch it. So it's and everything about the team, but at least so right now we see the mapping things, right? But what about the other uses of team map? You got my point?
Other uses of TMAP comes into creating the lookups, wherein we want to include multiple input source and do a TMAP.
So we are going to cover it in the differentiation. If it is that case, then there's no issue. We can check it.
No, I'm going to cover because TMAP is the very used and most important component of talent. So we have to give a specific consideration to that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, like we can use a lookup, we can create the custom variables here and define our conditions in this case, and then again use this variable to our output column. So we have different scenarios. This will come up, wherein we have a more high level of advanced level of data integration. Because lookups are a separate part. We do 2 to 3 input source and then do a lookup based on
that's right.
the conditions.
Okay.
Okay. Apart from this, anything?
We're going to wind up this session today now?
Yeah. Today, what we have covered 2 modules, and this session is closed.
So I have a
Tomorrow
question
we
from
will be
Lavanya.
seeing,
I have a question from Lavanya. Lavanya is there? Hello. Oh, he is not responding. He or she means I heard a lady voice, but
I'm not sure.
okay.
Any question, maybe I can answer.
No, I don't have right now. Means you say that you later you will show us.
You can also call Lavanya. You have his number. So.
You're talking to me, Siddharth?
Yeah.
Siddharth? No, maybe just one question that today's session is get recorded, so where she is putting and we are sending the link or what? So how we can see again this session, recorded session.
Yeah.
So just that question I just want to ask her or him, I don't know. Means there was a lady and 2 days before it was a guy, right? So means she must come, right? Because it's the 12 o'clock and this has to bind up. Hello. Hello. I think you lost the connection.
Yeah, Lal. Anything?
Yeah, means okay. Lavanya is there. Is that Lavanya?
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have one question. Today's session has been recorded, right? So,
Yes.
Where we will get the link of the recording? Means,
See,
are you going to send in a mail?
See, everything the support team will be sharing it with you. You don't worry about that. We'll share everything.
When means I just want to today, tomorrow, or day.
I think today it will be done. Today.
So we are going to get a mail, right? Regarding
Yes. I just need to confirm that. I'm not sure about it. I'll confirm and then I'll let you know. Is that fine?
You are Lavanya or Sonali? Means
no, I'm Usha.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Usha. No, I'm not Lavanya or Sonali. I'm Usha, and actually that is why I'm not aware of it. But I'll just update you. I'll call on your number and I'll update you regarding this.
Oh, okay.
Any
Good.
other query?
Thank you. No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Usha, I think we are done for today's session and we are
Okay,
closing out. Okay.
okay, sure. Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you.
Rohit.
Thanks, everyone. So tomorrow will be there by same time. Eh?
Okay,
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
okay.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. हाँ भाई